Hey, everyone. It's been a while. I didn't really upload anything in January as there wasn't really much I wanted to kind of have on the channel, but we finally have these, the Luard Stride deck set and the Shiranui Stride deck set, both for Cardfight Vanguard's standard format, which we now have the new rules going into the Divine Z series. That's still part of Overdress, but of course it's now called something else. So, let's just get right into it, because we're going to go over both of these that came out at the same time. Both of these originally came from the tail end of the G series, which was the end of the original series of Cardfight Vanguard. And both are kinda infamous, as both Shiranui and Luard kind of led to the creation of new formats. Shiranui, the creation of V. Luard, the creation of the Overdress series itself, because of his V series incarnation. Let's go over Shiranui first. Unlike the first Stride deck sets, we actually get some sleeves to go with these ones. So that's kind of why these two are a bit more than the first two Stride deck sets. And these are some very nice sleeves. Of course, on here we have Shiranui Ouroboros. Ouroboros? Yeah, there we go. The deck itself, and of course the deck case that you can use to carry all sorts of other decks. And we've just got stuff inside that I'll take care of after the video. Yeah, let's have a look at the Shiranui cards. Of course, we've got Demon Stealth Dragon Shiranui Ouroboros. It is the original effect and stats of the original Shiranui Ouroboros, so you can use any older copies of Shiranui Ouroboros that you have. You don't have to just use this one, but this one looks nice regardless. Yeah, of course we've got one triple rare copy and 3 common copies of Shiranui. Stealth Dragon Genkai, which was another signature card in the Shiranui deck. Seizi, another one. Stealth Dragon Seizi. Stealth Dragon Madoi, this was the starter. We have the original Stealth Dragon Shiranui. This was the original boss for Nubatama. That was then replaced by Shiranui Ouroboros. They're both the same character, but this one is just a generic Stride discard with an effect that associates with the main effect of Shiranui Ouroboros, that being Dominate. Let's go over what Dominate does. For Shiranui Ouroboros, when this G unit strides, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards, stand it, dominate it until the end of the turn. It gets 4,000 power, and you can attack your opponent's other units with it. So essentially, you take control of your opponent's stuff, which is pretty interesting and a unique gimmick to Shiranui. Stealth Dragon Sekai, or Seki, something like that. That's one of the newer support cards. Stealth Dragon Furai, this is another of the classic cards. As you can see, it has the encounter border and is also a Nubatama unit. Stealth Dragon Usori, this is the perfect guard, and probably a lot of stealth-based decks, aka the ninja decks for Dragon Empire, are going to like having a proper perfect guard from here on out. As the only other stealth perfect guard in Standard was the generic one from the starter decks that have no additional effects. Stealth Beast, Katari Gitsune. It's kind of like a fox ninja thing. He's kind of looking a little chunky since we last saw him. Again, since this is a Stride deck set, we've got one triple rare copy of all of the new cards except for the triggers, and 3 normal ones. Of course, if you brought the premium version, you've got all triple rare copies, and for the Stride deck, you've got all SP copies. Stealth Dragon Zanki, Stealth Dragon Tenrei, a common Dragon Empire over trigger, the Stealth Dragon Critical Trigger, the Stealth Dragon Draw Trigger, the Stealth Dragon Front, the Stealth Dragon Heal Trigger, which is pretty nice. And of course, we've got the Stride deck, Evil Eye Hades Emperor Shiranui Mukuro. Of course, as I said, we've got one beautiful SP of Shiranui Mukuro. That looks amazing. And of course, Emma Stealth Dragon Magen Tembu. This is the first Stride you go into, and both Stride units also have Dominate effects. And again, another beautiful SP version of Magen Tembu. The Shiranui Crest, that lets you Stride in Standard with Shiranui and all that extra good stuff that you need for the Stride decks. And to round it up, we've got 3 more copies of Genkai and another copy of the regular Shiranui. So that is it for the Shiranui deck. Let's go on to Luard, who probably had all the initial hype going into these being announced, as Luard is arguably one of the most popular decks of all time in Vanguard. Mostly because, well, 1, he's a Shadow Paladin, and 2, he was very prominent at the end of the G series and was arguably the final boss of the G series when he became possessed by Gizeh. So, of course, again, we've got some very nice Luard sleeves. You can probably use them in the V-Series deck as well if you want. Of course, again, we have Dragheart Luard. His thing is Ritual, which revolves around having multiple copies of grade 1 units in the drop zone. And of course, Ritual 3, meaning if you have 3 or more grade 1 units in your drop zone. So yeah, Dragheart Luard, he's a wizard and an elf that can use the power of dragons. So yeah, of course, 1 triple rare copy and 3 common copies of Dragheart Luard. Drag Wizard Leofal, the standard grade 2 of Luard. Drag Wizard Knees. Drag Prince Root. Solemn Clout Dragon, or Solemn Clout Dragon. This is the, discard for Luard in Standard, and it also has a Ritual effect, where Ritual 3, if you have 3 or more grade 1s in the drop, this gets an extra 10,000 power. Very nice. Of course, the always popular Drag Wizard Morfessa. She gets a lot of attention, as she's basically the main grade 2 in every version of Luard that has ever existed. She even got a Stride of her own, which is crazy. So yeah, Drag Wizard Morfessa. The Drag Saver Orisa Perfect Guard, a Shadow Paladin Perfect Guard in Standard. This is probably going to really help things like Luard and even Phantom Blaster Dragon. So that's really cool. Abyssal Owl, this is the standard discard to get Luard. However, it also has another effect. This is a Ritual 3. Again, If you have 3 or more grade 1 units in your drop zone, you can use this effect. At the end of your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Luard in its card name, you can bind 2 cards with the same name as this card from your drop, and you can countercharge 1. So yeah, very nice that they gave Luard a countercharger in his own deck set, which is crazy. Drag Wizard Samius. Preservation Angel, another ritual support card. Luminicity Wizard, again, another ritual-based support card for Luard and Standard. A common Keter Sanctuary Overtrigger. Of course, we already got one in the Grand Grace deck set. We have a Gold Paladin, Royal Paladin-esque looking critical trigger here. Kind of wish they went with the Dragon one. The Shadow Paladin Dragon one. We've got a draw trigger here. Acclamation Sage. Shargaron. Shargaron? Yeah, it's a front. And we have this heal, which is kind of Shadow Paladin looking with the more darker armor. So I'd say that one works. We've got Drag Strider Luard. This has a Ritual 7 effect, so that means you have to have 7 or more grade 1s in your drop to activate the effect. Yeah. And that is arguably the best looking SP grade 4 we've gotten for strides in Standard. That is amazing. Drag Strider Luard, where he fully becomes a dragon. Very nice. And of course, the first stride you go into, Drag Driver Luard, where he partially becomes a dragon. And that also looks really good, and he also has a Ritual 3 effect. And then, of course, we've got the Dragheart Luard Crest, that again lets you use all the Luard stuff in Standard. 3 more copies of Drag Wizard Leofal. You might use more copies of this, you might not, and another Solemn Clout Dragon to round it out. And yeah, that is it for both the Shiranui and Luard Stride deck sets. I hope you enjoyed this video.